Hi, and welcome to Equine Business Edge, the podcast for horse professionals who want to build a stronger, more profitable business without losing their passion for the horse industry. I'm your host, Jamie Birch, entrepreneur, horseman, and founder of equinerevshare.com. Each episode, we dive into real-world business strategies, marketing, system, mindset, leadership, growth ideas, specifically for trainers, instructors, clinicians, barn owners, and equine entrepreneurs. This podcast is proudly produced and sponsored by equinerevshare.com, a platform that helps horse professionals earn commissions from the products they already know, use, and recommend every day in one simple click. Now, let's jump into today's episode. Well, hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Today's just me. We're going to be talking about finance. Really big part of the horse industry, and really any business needs to have a really good handle on their finances. So we're going to talk about that today. Really talk about like how you manage those, some of the mistakes that I've made, but also like what you should be working on towards your future. So anyway, why are you going to listen to me? Again, my name is Jamie Birch. I'm the host of this podcast. I'm the co-founder of equinerevshare.com, a website that helps horse professionals get paid for the referrals of products that they're already doing. But I have built our little empire through owning and running businesses. I started JEB Commerce, a marketing agency, about 21 years ago. I sold that agency in 2024 to several of the employees. They're continuing that amazing company to this day. During that time, we took some of those profits and we invested in another organization, healthcare agency for adults with developmental disabilities. And that turned into a very profitable, sustainable business. From there, we took those profits into real estate, own an office building, and several rentals. So not saying all that to boast, but I just want you to know who's talking to you and what I'm speaking of. I have a heart for equine professionals, horse trainers, clinicians, barn owners. We've used so many of them: farriers, body workers, vets, all of that. We've used so many of them to allow us to do amazing things with our horses. And I want you guys to be just as successful and more than we ever have. So finance is a big part of that. And I tell you what, I have learned the hard way. I think the biggest thing, point number one, and I'm just doing this off the cuff here in the tack room after recording an episode with someone else. So there's no real script here. So the biggest thing and the biggest mistake that I made in running my business was treating it as just another checkbook, another bank account for my wife and I, and really just another bank account for me. Not having enough separation. So I just kind of treated them both the same. So when there was money in either of the accounts, there was money in mine. And that, it allowed me to utilize cash that wasn't my personal cash. It kept my business from growing because I wasn't investing back into it. We had really no handle on what we were spending for a time. And we just kind of spent it if it was there. We didn't even really manage to cash flow. We managed to like cash on hand. And if you manage to cash on hand, you ask questions like, hey, can we buy this? Do you have cash right now? Yeah. Okay. So buy it. But you're not looking ahead in any way. You're not planning. You're not doing anything. And it gets really, really interesting at tax season when you're trying to break those things out. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you have separate accounts and you treat them as such. And this may be really basic, and maybe many of you already have this figured out, but you need to have a separate banking system for your business. And I would recommend several different checking and savings accounts. You got to have your main checking account. We like to actually have a checking account that we receive all our payments. That isn't our main operating account. So that way we protect ourselves from fraud, and all the monies that are stored. So every month, all your clients pay, and that money comes in. That goes into an account that you rarely use outside of transferring money to your main operating account and to your other accounts. So that's sort of like a phantom or a secret account. We don't have a debit card with that account. And I've done this on businesses. The marketing agency was about $2.5, $3 million a year. The other agency was about about $10 million a year, 9, 10 million a year. And then I've started businesses, clothing companies, that really never took off. Just started a winery that has an average about $500 a month in there, and various other businesses. And we do it all the same now. And so there is a main account where all the receivables come into, and then you have an operating account that you then move money in there to pay your bills. And that has a debit card associated with it, so you can make online purchases out in the world. And then we have a savings account that we call retained earnings. And then we have a tax account. And I learned all of this from the book Profit First. So I had a coach, thank you, Mandy, that had me read that book, walked me through it, called Profit First. And so we'll talk about some of the concepts in there, but go get that book, Profit First, highly helpful and beneficial for you. But you have all that money coming into your receivables account to pay all your bills and purchase things. It goes to your main operating account. You may be running payroll out of that, and everything. And then you have your retained earnings. We call it retained earnings account. So any profits we put in retained earnings. And then we have the tax account. So that's where there's two things you want to pay every single time, every month. You want to pay yourself profit. You want to pay that first. You want to make sure you have profit. And if there's left over, that's where it goes. And then you want to put your taxes. So many people and I did this. You don't save up for your taxes. You file your taxes April 15th. And then you look and you go, I've got a $1,000 bill or a $10,000 bill or a $50,000 bill. And you haven't put money away every month. Now, I'm not a tax accountant or a CPA, so I can't tell you exactly what the amount is, but we've worked with our CPA. They gave us a percentage we need to put away every month. And so every month we get a draw from the business that comes out of, so money comes into that main receivables account. Money goes out to pay our taxes. And money goes into the retained earnings that then we take as an owner draw from retained earnings. So it does a couple things. It cleans up everything for your taxes, but it also gets you into a mindset shift. That business isn't just your business. That isn't, or just your checking account. It's just not another bank account for you to use if you need groceries. It's that mindset of, this is a business. This business needs to be taken care of, needs to be cared for, needs to be grown on its own, outside of you personally, for the benefit of you and your family. But that thing is, it's an entity of itself. And I did for too long, ran it as my own personal checking account. We needed a new trailer. Oh, well, there's money in the business. Let's go grab that. So it can create problems for taxes. It can create problems when you need to grow the business and that those earnings aren't there. You may be saying, Jamie, that's great, this profit thing you talk of and having extra money. I don't. I train as many horses as I can all day, or I have as many shoeing clients or bodywork clients as I can possibly take, and there's nothing left at the end of the day. Well, then the next thing I want you to do is start working on a budget. I want you to start looking at what you're spending every month. You may be right. You may have zero profit, and you may have, you may feel there's nothing you can do. But I've walked a lot of business owners through this, equine and otherwise. And what they always find when they go through their expenses for the last 3 months, last 6 months, they always find things that they didn't need to spend or efficiencies, ways they can do business better. So write down, look and categorize all your expenditures. That's going to help you create some room for you to create some efficiencies. And you may find in that, like, you're right, I'm not making much money. I don't. I'm. You may not even have money to put away for taxes, and that may drive you to the biggest problem here is revenue per client and type of client. And that may get you into some of these other topics that we discussed. If you're there, then definitely listen to the podcast with Denise and the podcast with Colton. Those are the first and third podcasts for Equine Business Edge. So now you're managing, you have your own, a separate bank account, you have an operating account, you have a receivables account, you got your tax account, and you got your retained earnings account. You grabbed your book of Profit First and read through all that and all its concepts, and you're generating some profit. One of the goals should be, I know Clinton Anderson talks about this a lot. And what I also don't want to see is a lot of broken horse professionals with no way to earn money if they're not using their hands and feet and their butt in a saddle. One of the things that we did that, I really wish I could say I had amazing foresight and I'm super smart and this was all intentional. But there was some, I don't think I'm super smart, but there was some intentionality. When our marketing agency started to produce a lot of profit, there was still a tendency to use it as, for me, to use it as our own checking account and to do some things, personally with it. And we definitely did that. Excuse me. So we definitely did that, but we started looking for opportunities to invest in other things. I had already seen, like, I'm kind of, I love working with those clients, but it was really hard working with those clients. And in your business as a horse professional, 99% of you're earning money when you're working with your hands, your feet, and your butt. When you're in the saddle, when you're teaching a lesson, and all those things. There's going to be a point where, you want to slow down from that, or it won't be available anymore. And so you want to start planning for other means to bring in revenue. And so we had an opportunity. I'd done some business coaching at that point, helping people create business plans. One of them came in with a really cool business plan, really cool idea, walked him through every way to build that business plan and really look at the opportunity. And it turned out there was a lot of opportunity. He looked at me after creating the business plan, almost getting ready to start this business, and just said, "Hey, I want to do the technician work. I don't want to do all the business stuff, and I don't really have the money to start this because I don't know how to start this when I'm also working. Would you do this for me?" So we had saved retained earnings. We had run a profit first organization for a while. We had saved our taxes and had managed our money that way, managed the business money as its separate entity for the success of that business for the benefit of my family. And so we had money to invest. And going through that process of having him create the business plan, we saw that there was a lot of opportunity here. So we took profits from our first business that I was hands-on. I didn't have to do all the work, but I was there every single day, sometimes 80 hours a week, making that happen, invoicing, making all that stuff happen, doing some of the work for our clients, managing a team, training, leadership, conflict resolution, HR, finance, all those sort of things, right? That was my day to day. And then I took profit from doing that and put it in a business that I was an investor, a strategic advisor, and was able to take that money that we made from the first business with our hands and feet, invested it into something that did not require the hands and feet. Now, we did that a couple times. And a couple times, we failed at that. Started a software company that did not work, and some other things that didn't work, but this one did. And so it's the idea of, you have to have your finances managed well. You have to have your costs on lock, and you got to know what all those things are, so that then you can take those. That then you will be generating profit. You manage that profit well, and then you can go and invest it in other things. And maybe it's another business. Maybe it's just really good stock investments and things like that. And then what we did is, from that business, my business partner and I started investing in real estate. So we bought an office building, and we bought several rentals over the year. Now, this is over, that business is 10 years old. I ran the marketing agency for 19 years. So this is not something I did in 10 days, not something I did in 5 years. It took 19 years to get to the point. I'm 51. Now we have a business that operates pretty much without me. I'm involved from a strategic perspective, problem solving, some finance stuff. And we have rentals that produce revenue for us. So this concept of one in Colton's podcast with us, he talked about what your 10-year plan is. And that's a really good way to look at it. So, what is your 10-year plan? Do you want to be training 22 horses and have zero time and barely break even? Or do you want to train 8 horses, 6 horses, really good horses with clients you've worked with for a really long time, fantastic clients, really quality horses, and maybe you want a vibrant introductory lesson program as well, and you want, maybe more choice, and that comes from planning. It very rarely comes from just kind of making it through. So this is going to be a short podcast today, but I think a real poignant one is that financial management. If you have questions about what all is entailed in that, please let me know. I'll talk all the time on this particular subject, but it really starts with how you manage the money coming in and going out, and that mindset that you have with it. So that money coming in, some is yours, but that's after the taxes are paid, profit into the business is paid, and all the costs are paid. Then you take a draw. That mindset shift is huge. You're going to hear me talk a lot about mindset on this. So, and then have it in mind to take the profit, the revenue that you're generating from your core business, and placing that in other areas to generate more revenue for you. Some of it can be in a real passive way, like rentals and things like that, as well as investments, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, things like that. But always be planning, for the future, and don't get stuck in the trap that your business is just another checking account for you to use, because it is not. It is the businesses. Anyway, that's really from the Profit First and 20 years of coaching and being mentored and building successful businesses. And don't get me wrong, building some real failures. I have had some failures, but just want you to be able to be more successful in your business. So what do you think? What questions do you have about finance in your horse business? Money is a big issue. So how can I help you? What questions do you have? What's your biggest obstacle in your horse business as it relates to finance? Please let us know. Anyway, thank you for joining this podcast episode. I hope you got a lot out of it, and I hope you subscribe and like, and we see you next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of Equine Business Edge. If you got value from today's conversation, make sure you subscribe, follow, and share this episode with another horse professional who could benefit from it. Word of mouth is how great businesses and great podcasts grow, and your support truly helps us reach more people in the horse industry. And this podcast is proudly produced and sponsored by EquineRevShare.com. EquineRevShare.com was built specifically for horse professionals. Trainers, instructors, clinicians, boarding facilities, influencers, breeders, and all sorts of equine business owners who are already recommending products to clients every single day. Whether it's tack, supplements, grooming products, apparel, feed, training tools, or barn equipment, your clients are already asking what you use and trust. And we provide a way for you to make that happen, earn a commission, and all doing it the same way you do it right now. Equine RevShare helps you turn those recommendations into an additional income stream by giving you access to retail partnerships and easy-to-share product links from equine brands and retailers all over the world, all in one place. No complicated tech, no inventory, no awkward selling, just your cell phone. Just a simple way to get rewarded for the influence and trust you've already built in the horse industry. To learn more or get started, visit equinerevshare.com. And thanks again for being here. We'll see you in the next episode of Equine Business Edge.